Thank you so much, Ian. Okay, guys, well, thank you very much for coming today. Obviously, we did try and get everything a little bit more bigger, but this is what we're working with. So if you can all make sure to try and see this tiny little screen, that'd be great. If not, don't worry, because at the end, I will give you all a worksheet about what we've been going through. I really want to just find out, first of all, who has used AI here? Okay, pretty much most of you. Well, I'm going to let you all know that you've all used AI, every single one of you. Artificial intelligence is essentially large language models, an LLM. And a large language model is basically a librarian that's been trained on a dictionary. So if you imagine that you gave a computer the knowledge of the complete world and then said, now speak to us through this dictionary, what it can do is it can look at the whole internet and anything it's trained on, and it can actually then talk to us as a human being. Now, this is really what some call the last step in technology. If you've seen films like The Matrix, you might see that this is kind of where human beings are no longer needed. But if you rewind back to 100 years ago, when Ford Motors was trying to get everyone to drive cars, of course, all of the people riding horses would never have imagined that these wheelie things would ever become what we use today. Fast forward a little bit more, and obviously the internet comes out, and people start making websites, and the dot-com boom probably lost a lot of you money. But this is how hype cycles work. And then we came to 2005, social media was invented. Suddenly the old companies, the old banks, you remember the HSBCs and the Lloyds? Well, these days you have Monzos, Revoluts, these new neobanks that were able to use social media to actually launch their companies better than the older companies. And every time there is a transformation of technology, some people lose and some people win. And the only people that win are the people that are not afraid to dip their toe in the water and find out what this technology is about. So today I'm going to take you through a couple of interesting tools that I use pretty much daily. There's a lot of companies doing AI at the moment. Things like ChatGPT are the leaders. So OpenAI is a company that was really born out of Elon Musk's ability to put a whole load of money into someone that wanted to make an open source AI. So what that means is that an AI model is essentially so powerful that it shouldn't just belong to one person. And many years ago, Elon Musk said to a young man called Sam Altman, I'll give you $100 million to start this ChatGPT, but as long as you just make it free forever. It's not free forever, and there's been a big lawsuit because Microsoft bought half of ChatGPT, and now, of course, it's an arms race to figure out who can make the biggest AI models as quick as possible. We also have Meta, obviously Facebook. Facebook owns Instagram, WhatsApp. You've got to remember as well, if you're Facebook and you own WhatsApp and Instagram, you're now training your AIs with all of the posts that are on your platforms. So that's an incredible amount of data that people are actually using. We're going to go through a lot of these first, but let me first show you a pretty fun one. This is a little introduction I thought I'd just give you.
Welcome everyone to the Chamber of Commerce AI workshop. It's a real pleasure to see so many faces here, all eager to explore what artificial intelligence can offer. I hope you're as excited as I am to dive into the fascinating world of AI tools and how they can be applied to your business, no matter the size or sector. Before we begin, I want to say a special thank you to my son, Cameron. He's not only the greatest son I could have hoped for, but also someone who inspires me every day with his charisma, creative thinking, and, I have to say, rather good looks. His support and drive have helped bring this workshop to life. Let's get started and see where this journey with AI can take us.
Thank you, Dad. So clearly that wasn't my father, but 11 Labs is a tool that we can all use for free. Essentially, you can upload the voice of somebody, and then you can make them say whatever you want.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't my dad. You can also see it's not that advanced yet. It's not quite perfect. Really, if you gave someone a huge, like hundreds of hours of someone talking, it can get a lot better at creating these responses. The reason you need to know about this right now is because as well as being a tool for creativity and a real creative partner, this has become a very big scam. So I want you to just listen to this.
Mum, I need your help. I got into an accident whilst riding on a motorbike, and I'm in hospital in Bangkok General. I'm okay. I've got to get some stitches and some antibiotics. My phone is about to die. I lost my wallet, but need to pay the hospital. If you can lend me £5,000, I'll pay you back when I'm home. If you can transfer it to my other bank account, that would be great. Sort code is 040509 and account number is 59878977. I'll call you when I recharge my phone at the hotel later. Love you.
Okay, clearly that's not me, right? And something that I've learned recently, I've been doing a movie about scamming, and I spoke to Scam Interceptors, who are the BBC show, and they said to me, this is the biggest scam at the moment, because what's happening is that people are finding out who's your parents, and they're sending you these voice notes on WhatsApp. And of course, if you don't realize that it's not your child, then you don't know what to do. I mean, do I send £5,000 to my kid? He's in hospital. He really needs that money. It's hard to figure out how you're going to protect yourself against this. But one thing that we can all do is try and ask really unique questions that only a parent and a child would know. So I want to address this first, just because there is obviously some dangers involved. But just make sure that you're always a little bit skeptical about what's going on, and you should be fine. Does anyone have any experience with this, by the way? Because I know there are a lot of scams going on in the Channel Islands. You've seen something like this before?
I've had that one, yeah.
You've had that one?
Several times.
Several times from one of your children?
Yes.
I had it via WhatsApp when it popped up about a year ago, and I kept on going for the best part of 2 days. They thought they'd hit the tech millionaire, and we negotiated up to £500,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Then I wrote the news, and I got all
I love it. I love it. Well, you know what? That's great, because I'm glad that you wasted their time. They could have definitely scammed somebody else.
I was so excited.
Absolutely. Well, look, I mean, just be wary about this, guys. And this is the only scary thing I'm really going to show you at the moment, because that is, I think, in my mind, the worst thing that this technology could be used for. But 11 Labs is a great tool. If you want to use this for other purposes as well, by the way, if you want to make videos, if you've got a business and that you don't really like making videos all the time, but you know that you should have a podcast, or you should try and put your voice out there, you can literally just write anything you want into this, and you can download the audio. You can put the audio on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and instead of having to re-record every time, you can literally just use your own voice. So this has been really useful for a lot of the work that I do in voiceovers. And of course, it's only going to get better, which I think is the main thing. So that's 11 Labs. And these guys are really leading the way in terms of voice. We're then going to go into ChatGPT, right? Who's used ChatGPT here? Fantastic. ChatGPT is genuinely the fastest, the quickest. It seems to me that every time someone does something good in the AI space, ChatGPT just copy it. And that's really, really, really good. Alona, you're going to hate me here, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to write a press release. I'm so sorry. Okay, so we are gathered in the Chamber of Commerce AI workshop. We're going to go through who, what, why, what, how, where, when. Journalism, guys. We're going to be studying AI, and we're going to hopefully show some amazing tools that we can all use on Alderney, not just for ourselves, but our businesses. We are doing this in partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, who obviously want to encourage more digital things happen on the island. We have several states members here, current and former. And yeah, we hope that after this workshop, we're all going to be able to know a little bit more about AI. Right, so I've just recorded that. I'm just going to hit it here. Now, what it's now doing is it's going to listen to what I've done there, or it's going to disappear maybe. Okay, we might have some internet issues as well, guys. I have to say the Georgian house internet is not necessarily the quickest. We'll try that again. Okay, so we're going to get ChatGPT up. The point here as well is that when you spit words at AI, it doesn't just think, oh, he's right every time. Like, you know, it's trying to now figure out what you were trying to say. So as a dyslexic person who's spent his whole life trying to spell check everything, for me, doing things like this is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so we're just going to get ourselves back in now. Okay, we'll try this again. So I'm just going to say, write me a press release for the AI workshop for the Chamber of Commerce at the Georgian on the 23rd, what day? April 2025, attended by the people of Alderney, and the purpose is to teach AI tools to them. Now, that is a terrible way to start any press release. But of course, if you press go, then it's now going to try and come up with exactly what you were trying to say. And the best thing about this is, like I said, as a dyslexic person, I have struggled my whole life trying to write anything, whereas now I can just spit it out, and that's what's really, really important. And of course, I mean, Alona, you might want to mark this as immediate release. Alderney Chamber of Commerce hosts AI workshop to empower island residents. In fact, let's get it to speak it, because it's a little bit more clearer.
Sure. Here's a simple, clear press release draft for your AI workshop. For immediate release, Alderney Chamber of Commerce hosts AI workshop to empower island residents. Alderney, 23rd of April, 2025. The Alderney Chamber of Commerce welcomed residents to an engaging and practical AI workshop held at the Georgian this evening, aimed at demystifying artificial intelligence and showing how local people and businesses can benefit from using these tools in daily life.
Okay, so we'll stop it there. But obviously you can see the point of using something like this to just come up with a press release. You can then also, if you wanted to be a little bit more clever, I can say, write me a blog post in the style of Winston Churchill for my LinkedIn. Okay, so again, it's now reading every single Winston Churchill literature out there, every letter he ever wrote, and it's now going to interpret what that press release was in the style of Winston Churchill. So it says, in the long history of human progress, there's occasionally arrived moments in the vast scope. You know, this is the type of stuff that you really wouldn't imagine happening 10 years ago. And of course, there is a huge intellectual property dispute here, not between anyone meaningful, but everyone meaningful. The technology companies have actually ripped up GDPR, ripped up any kind of regulation, and they've just gone for it. And it's really scary, because actually it means that if you are an artist, if you're an author, somebody can literally write a book in your style. It's scary.
How much previous information have you fed into this? Because it knows your name.
Okay, that's a very good point. When I use ChatGPT, it remembers everything that I've used it for in the past. So it knows my name. It knows everything that I've Googled in the past, everything that I've done in the past. So it does know a little bit. But essentially what this is doing is it's drawing on not just my own AI, but also the rest of the internet as well. So that's kind of why it's so, it can obviously find out who I am by just the fact I've used it for 2 years. And I use it for everything, every Google search, just, if I'm about to go on a call with somebody, I want to find out about them, I want to find out what I should or shouldn't do. We're going to go on to a little bit more advanced GPTs in a moment.
Just one simple question. I've used it a bit myself, I mean, not massively, but paid version or paid version?
Very good point. I use the paid version. So for $20 a month, you basically get the access to what they call custom GPTs. So I'm going to take you on to custom GPT in a moment. Right now, you can all use the free version where you can just use the information in the world. But as someone that wants to build his own custom AI tools, that's why I pay $20 a month. We're going to go on to those custom GPTs in a moment. But first, we're going to leave ChatGPT for a little bit and have a little bit of fun. Okay, so this is a song creation AI. This is called Suno, suno.com. You may have heard, I think in Ryduna Radio, I've got a very fun song at the moment about Alderney and the runway. I actually thought Mark Hellier was a songwriter and a guitarist. I thought it was that good. And it was actually Ian Taylor that said to me, that was AI, which I should have known, but I didn't know. So we're going to make a quick song here now. And so what should we make it about? Make a country song about the Chamber of Commerce AI workshop for the people of Alderney who like to drink. Okay, so we're just gonna let it go. We're just gonna see what it can do. You all remember as well, guys, this is really scary for my generation. If you're the generation that fixed all the problems that we had previously, we're now the generation that don't have any problems. I mean, we have problems, but nothing that someone hasn't tried to fix for us. And so it's like, even if you're like an artist and you're a creative person who would have sold albums and sold things like this, you've now got people making AI music who are making it without any instruments, without any songwriters, without any studio recordings, without any labels. And you'll see in a moment, this is actually very, very, very good. So let's see what it's come up with. Okay. As you can see, I've actually been doing it a bit for other ideas. Let me play this one. This is about my dad. Let's see if it can play. Oh, beautiful mixing as well, you know.
Cam Cairnduff strums his old six string. Under the tavern lights you'll hear him sing. The wild rover rolls smooth off his tongue. In the Georgian glow his stories are spun. With a pint in hand.
Okay, we're gonna carry on. We're gonna go on to the one that they've just created now. So this is called AI and Whiskey Nights, just because I said we like to drink. So we'll see what that one sounds like. It might all be country. I'm really into country. But again, you're like, who's doing these instruments?
In the heart of Alderney, where the lights shine dim, we're gathering in town for a workshop around the brim. The chamber's got their say, it's tech we're here to learn, but whiskey's on our mind and the night begins to churn. AI on the papers, robots on the screen, but ain't no future vision brighter than the barroom scene. Talk of progress swirls round, I sip my amber glass, dreaming about tomorrow while the present slips on past. Oh, give us some light.
Okay, guys, that's the point, is that we can go on for hours and hours and hours refining these as well. So let's say, for example, if you wanted to make your own custom songs as well, so you can actually go write lyrics and you can put all your own lyrics into there. If you're a musician and you really don't want to sing, or you have a load of poems or songs and you want to create your own music, go ahead, make an album. You could do an album in about an hour, which is actually kind of ridiculously scary. Again, the point about them knowing everything about everyone and training these AIs and everything is, if I wanted to make a song in the style of John Denver, maybe, or Eminem, you know, it will literally listen to all those tracks and then spit something out that's very similar to that. So again, intellectual property, out the window. I don't know. It's very strange to be in this world now, because only over the last 2-3 years this has kind of happened. So as a filmmaker who left technology to become a filmmaker, I'm now going back to technology, because AI is literally taking the jobs of creativity. And that's kind of what we're talking about today, is how do we make things quicker than we would if we had to employ somebody. Okay, so we're going to move on a little bit. Okay, so this is the podcast that me and my dad made together. I'll just play a little clip.
The second one, and it was all about, you know, it evolved. It was getting bigger and professional.
Okay, so this is me and my dad talking about video production. It's an hour-long podcast, right? And obviously I put that out on my social media. A couple of people maybe have watched the whole thing. A few people come up to me and said, that's a great story. But most of us just don't have the time at the moment. So we're just, you know, we're just flicking through. We're never ever going to listen to this. Similarly, there's a podcast in the island called Tony at 10 at 12. Fantastic. When I listen to it, I love it. Absolutely love it. When I ain't got time for it, I ain't listening to it at all. And this is why this next piece of technology is very important. So this is called Opus Clip. And Opus Clip basically will take a link to any YouTube video out there. And Opus Clip will essentially listen to the whole thing for you. It's then going to find out exactly what has been said, and it's going to start marking it based on what could be an interesting subject to talk about. So you can see here, this is the first clip it's come up with. And by the way, it's come up with 38 clips here. 38 clips, Gen Z versus boomers, my dad's prostate cancer story. It's come up with all these things. And of course, we can just click on one of them.
Years ago, you were diagnosed with prostate cancer. Yes. I remember it like it was yesterday, you know, because I thought, that's it, Dad's gone, you know, I'm the man of the house now. And over the years, I became pretty well aware of prostate cancer. I made a documentary around it. I ended up finding out that it's not, it can be aggressive, but it can also be non-aggressive. And so the nuance of the word cancer just completely became all sort of colours. 13 years ago, you were diagnosed with prostate.
Okay, so you can see here as well, it's created a score on the side here in terms of relevance. So we've got 96 out of 100. So it's basically saying this is a really good clip. If I put this clip onto Instagram, onto TikTok, onto Facebook, the chance of people actually listening to it is quite a lot. It's done this for every single good talking point that you could possibly have from this episode. And if I just go into the grid mode here, you can see just how many clips it's taken out. Question. That's Opus clip. O-P-U-S. I'm dyslexic, but I'd ask ChatGPT, but it's a bit... So Opus Clip has, all of them have free versions. Obviously, the moment you start doing it loads, they want 10, 20 quid a month. I probably spend about 50 quid a month on all my AI tools, but it's obviously business tax deductible and stuff like that. So it's just a tool that I have to use. This is really, really important as well, because when you think about the way that we communicate these days, obviously you can write a press release, you could put a single Facebook post. But if I was to turn this episode into a daily video clip, then the chance of people going to the big video clip and watching the whole thing is a lot more. Showing up on social media is really difficult if you don't know how to make things. So making a podcast where you just sit down and talk for an hour without even considering about what people may or may not find important, it is now perfectly possible to use this piece of technology. We'll figure it all out for you. And literally from this platform here, it will actually schedule it to all your social media, everything from LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it, just from this one platform. So that means that you can think 6 months ahead. And instead of being like, oh, what am I going to do this week? It's like, I can look at my calendar. I can put this clip in there, that clip in there. And it just means you're always showing up. Any questions about Opus Clip?
Can it do shorts?
It can do shorts, yeah. So this is the podcast version, but a lot of my vlogs, I make 10-minute vlogs. And there's a vlog feature where it will go and actually cut out bits that you don't really need. And because all it's doing is it's literally doing a transcript of the whole thing, reading it, and going, nah, don't need that, cut that, cut that, cut that, cut that. And it just pushes it down to something that an editor like me would have spent hours doing. So that's part of my job gone. It's not really the fact that AI is going to take your job. It's that the person that uses AI is going to take your job, which is why it's really, really important that obviously if you're young and want to have a career in something, you do that plus AI. And obviously, if you're older and you just want to have, freedom to express yourself creatively, then you use AI as a creative partner. Instead of saying, can you check my work? And someone spending 6 weeks not looking at it, and then they come back to you, you just rely on it straight away. And you get into this real ping pong of talking to the AI. Because that's the point, is that, we all know what we like to write and what we like to do. But actually, unless you've got someone to look at it for you and give you some advice, AI has just become the absolute best at that. Right, so moving on. Yeah.
Have you self-taught on this, or have you also done courses online as well?
No. So my background is in technology marketing. So after going to film school, I worked for a few big brands, and then I managed to get in with Ethereum, which was the cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is by nature quite technological. It relies on blockchain technology, which is another big thing. And actually, at the time, I was running Ethereum London, which was the biggest cryptocurrency meetup. And I saw so many AI developers, and we're talking 5-6 years ago, and they're all unemployed now. Why are they unemployed? Because, they spent their whole lives building an AI tool that suddenly the big boys went, yeah, cheers, we'll have that. And so what's weird, unlike the dot-com boom and the startups, there was thousands of them. Whereas actually in AI, we're really only talking about a couple of dozen companies that are running everything. You can tap into what they call an API. So an API is essentially the ability to use ChatGPT and the training data it's used, and you can create your own application, you can create your own website that uses that. But the people that have all the training data, they're the ones that are in control. So Google is obviously the elephant in the room. Everyone's terrified of Google because they've been listening to us since we had Google Maps, and so they're going to be releasing things that are going to be so personal to us, and we're going to think, are you listening to us? And the truth is that they are. As a marketeer, I used to tell people, oh, they're not listening to us. It's just we're getting much better at targeting people. I'm like, nah.
Also, getting that is that there's so many ways sort of go away for a month and do this and that one function. Just thinking, is there any ones that you recommend to get more information?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think generally the knowledge is no longer precious. You don't need to hire a consultant to come in and help you because you've got the internet. And it is, as long as you kind of like looking at podcasts, social media accounts, YouTube channels, these are all going to teach you everything for free. And that's the main thing here is if you want to be taught, and obviously this is kind of like, I want to inspire you to go off and Google how to do this, how to do that. But there's thousands, hundreds, millions of people out there making good content about this that you can just drop into a podcast at any moment and listen to. But the truth is that the moment you start practicing and just playing with it, we'll go back to ChatGPT in a little bit because that's the one I want you to all use today. It's completely free. And of course, it's the leader. The moment you start interacting with that, figuring out what it can do, you teach yourself. And I think that's what I love about it. Okay, so we're going to go now into, this is a tool by Google called Notebook ML. And Notebook ML is basically a really good tool that you can use to drop any complicated subject into it, and it will make a podcast for you. So you're talking about how you're going to, who's going to teach you? Well, you're going to teach yourself by getting the complicated information that you might want to know about. If you're a politician and you want to know about the 1948 agreement, you can drop that into here. I've dropped in, by the way, guys, all of this is kind of like, it takes a bit of time to upload and download. So I've basically pre-uploaded all of these demos so that we're not sitting here waiting patiently. But in this example, I dropped, Brian Bonnard did an amazing Alderney Week history thing. And sadly, he died, but he was really, really good at writing stuff. And I bless him, I bet he never used ChatGPT. Everything he wrote was completely just like from finding it out, and he basically did this amazing summary of what Alderney Week was about. So I'll play you a little short clip from here. And forgive me, these are the Americans talking about us, which is crazy. So if you didn't know about Alderney Week or where it came from, you're about to.
We always love digging into those unique local traditions, the ones that really tell you something about a place. Today, we're doing just that with Alderney Week. We've got Brian Bonnard's history, a history of Alderney Week right here.
Yeah.
And basically, our mission is to figure out, how this huge annual event on Alderney actually started.
Yeah, let's dive in. And what's often really fascinating, isn't it, is how these big community parties, they often have roots that go way, way back.
Oh, definitely.
Sometimes into, periods you wouldn't normally connect with a modern festival. And Alderney Week, it's kind of a perfect example. There are links to ancient pagan rituals.
Okay, pagan rituals, let's unpack that a bit. So we're talking about something happening on Clonk, that tidal island.
That's right, a fertility rite, basically, tied into the spring planting season, trying to make sure the crops grew well.
So what did that actually look like, these ancient gatherings?
Well, the source talks about young people getting dressed up in their best clothes, bringing musical instruments, they have picnics, dancing. It sounds like a proper community get-together.
Okay.
There were kissing games mentioned too, and other entertainments.
Kissing games, right.
And then as it got dark, they'd light this huge bonfire. And the finale was pretty dramatic, a torch-lit procession back to the main town.
Wow.
Okay, we'll stop it there. This is really fascinating because I only recently found out that the Wicker Man was written after the writer came to Alderney and was inspired by our torchlight. And didn't want to say Alderney at all in case we came after him, which actually is a very, very good point. It's nice that he kept himself anonymous. But the point here is that, this text that Brian wrote was about 10 pages long, and it's quite difficult to read if you're dyslexic and you want to hear it in a more conversational way. So Notebook ML is a really, really good tool for you to sort of do that. And like I've said, if it's a complicated subject that, people need to understand, you just throw whatever document someone sent to you and you just chuck it all into this, and then you can just listen to it on the way to work, or, well, no one really goes that far here, do they? But you can go for a walk and you can just have a little listen about what it is. And of course, you can download this as well, and then you can upload this as your own podcast. I've noticed the Guernsey politics people, I don't know, are doing it at the moment. It's a bit jarring, I'm not going to lie. When you start hearing American voices, it's not there yet. Like the moment that you can plug in 11 Labs, where we clone my dad's voice, the moment we can plug that into this, or in fact, to be fair, you could actually just take the text of the podcast and you can drop that into 11 Labs and you can make a whole thing. This is an assortment of tools, by the way. So like, you might use ChatGPT for this, and then you might use this for this. But if we're trying to communicate and put things out there, it's really important that kind of you figure out what all the tools are. Any questions about Notebook? Fantastic. You're going to get all this in a cheat sheet as well, by the way, guys, so you can go and click on the links and use it yourself. Okay, so this is quite a fun one. So this is Photoshop. I think this is a picture from Bell & Co, maybe? Anyone from Bell & Co here? No? Obviously, they're trying to sell the Salvation Army. The photograph's a little bit weak. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to get my little lasso tool here, and I'm going to go down to these cars, and I'm going to say, let's just do a ring around these cars here, because they look a bit nasty, don't they? We don't really need a car in a picture selling a property. So we're going to ring around the car. We're then going to go generative fill, and I'm going to say remove cars. And just like that, what it's doing is it's now looking around the area. It's pulling images from other places around the internet and trying to figure out what would I replace these cars with. Now, this is saving so much time, by the way. Normally, to do this, you'd have to take a photograph without the cars there, just to figure out what's going to be behind it. But at this point, it's now trailing through millions of photos of Alderney and places that it can find, and trying to figure out exactly what it's going to put in that place. You do have to give a disclaimer as well. If you're obviously doctoring images, you don't want to go completely crazy. But if you're doing it just little touchy bits, it's really good just to say this is sort of been enhanced with AI, if you could say it. Photoshop is paid for, yeah. You can get a free trial. All of these big companies, by the way, they are really good at getting you in. They'll let you use it all for free, and then they'll say, oh, it looks like you've run out of time, or whatever it is. My laptop is literally dying right now. It has been trying to take off for the last few days as I've been trying to run all these things. It's really important as well. So computer power. These computers are working so fast right now that they're literally building nuclear power stations to power these computer servers. Microsoft, the COO of Microsoft, who I spoke to about a year ago, literally was telling me about how they're building these dedicated nuclear power stations that have got nothing to do with power, but everything to do with powering these huge data centers. So right now, what has it done? Okay, it's put a bin there. It's put another car there. Okay, so as you can see, there's clearly ways that you can kind of keep prompting it. Another thing that I don't really like about this photo is I don't like the sky. The sky's too disgusting right now, and we know that we love Alderney. We love the way it looks. So let's just try and get rid of this cloudy sky. And this is quite fun as well, because if you go out on a nice family adventure and it's a really bad day, well, actually, it'd be quite nice to remember what Alderney actually looks like. The internet as well, the speed does matter. So let's just put clear blue skies. Which is why, most people on the island actually have quite slow internet. I mean, I say that. I've got my dad to get Starlink. It's the first thing I did when he came back from the 41 Club. It was...
He agreed to anything about sex.
Absolutely. I said, Dad, do you ever get annoyed over that little ring that just comes up midway through watching Netflix? He said, yeah. So give me a credit card. And obviously, the faster the internet you have, the quicker these programs will actually work. So I mean, this is the tool that I'm using for like most of my social media content, because, it can often just be one little thing that ruins a shot. And, I just don't want that there. There are other tools that you can use, like Canva. Canva's basically Photoshop for the new age, and Canva is free to a point. And again, that does similar things, but you just kind of stick with what you know. So what it's done here as well, it showed us a couple of variations of this picture. So you can see now the clouds are changing a little bit. And yeah, I mean, that looks a little bit better, a little bit nicer. There is a little, I don't know what they put here, but I won't get rid of that because I want to show you something else. But if you ever take a photograph and you think, you know what, I wish it was a bit bigger, you can actually, in here, you can go and grab the corners of this and you can say, you know what, let's expand it to like this size, shall we? So that, Salvation Army is front and center. We're then going to go generative expand, and we're just going to let it do whatever it thinks is right. And again, this is where it gets really fun for social media clips. If you're doing like Instagram posts, if you're trying to sell houses, if you're trying to do anything that requires you to put something online, sometimes pictures are horizontal, sometimes pictures are vertical. And when you want to make something vertical, but you ain't got anything above there or below there, you need to figure out a way of doing it. So that's what these sort of generative expansions are like. They are going to fill in the gaps. They're going to absolutely make it up. So if you are going to sell a house, you can't suddenly suggest that you've got massive open windows or something, because it will put it in there. It really will. Like sometimes you look at it, you're like, oh my God, that's better than it is. And that's kind of, yeah, that's tough. I recently actually made a Film Alderney website, which sadly I haven't been able to publish yet. But I managed to get every cobbled street in Alderney without the cars in them, so that film production companies can see what it actually looks like to come and make movies here. So you can see here, it's done a pretty good job. You know, if you consider what it was like before, and look, you can have little variations. I mean, that's a tiny house. But again, if you're only trying to use this as marketing for the Salvation Army, having the generative expand feature, being able to replace the sky, take out cars, these are things that you would have paid designers a huge amount of money to Photoshop, not only 2-3 years ago. So this is a really fun tool. Any questions about Photoshop AI? Cool. All right, moving on then. So the next tool I want to show you, we're back into ChatGPT. This is a couple of weekends ago. I went to York with my friends, and well, it's nice and everything like that. But I thought I'd show my friends what we could be if we asked AI to give us a more. This is a fine art masterpiece of me and my friends. And what's really interesting is that if you were to print this out and put it in a frame, you've just had, like, you know, Picasso level artwork, or whoever may have made that. And this is kind of where I think it's really scary, because you're a bit like, I don't really want to become an artist anymore, because who's going to buy my painting when AI can do that in a second? The prompt that I gave that was turn us into a fine art masterpiece, right? I then prompted it again. I said, turn this into a cartoon similar to Simpsons, and as you can see there, it's done it, right? So again, intellectual property, I don't know where it's gone, but you know, you can create your own Simpsons characters. This is really good fun, and obviously you can share it with your friends and family and stuff like that. But this is a free tool at the moment, which is just crazy, the fact that you can actually go onto ChatGPT and you can just upload your own photograph and you can chuck it in there. Did I put any more? Yeah. Okay, so basically, and this is what your ChatGPT window will always look like. I started here. I then prompted it to do this with this. I can ask it to do a load of different things. And if I really wanted to, I can throw that into Photoshop AI, and then I could expand it a little bit. I could make a really nice family portrait and you know, give it to your parents for Christmas or something, and tell them you painted it. That would be the ultimate thing. Okay, so moving on. ChatGPT is incredibly powerful at understanding not just the information online, but the information that you feed it yourself. So there's a thing called a custom GPT. Now, what a custom GPT is essentially a way for you to build your own supercomputer. So what I've done here is I've thrown this script document. I've been working with this proven scripts document for best part of a decade now. And basically all it is some really genius person out there told me ways to talk to people via email. So whether it's a busy person, someone that you want a job interview with, somebody that you want to, you know, sell something to, this is 50 scripts that will really, really help you. And I used to use it a lot. You know, it shows you how to make things shorter and stuff like that. But this is just a PDF document. I actually paid $100 for this document about 5 or 10 years ago or something. And I've shared it with all my friends and all the people who've ever worked for me. And I've said, here's how you write emails. And they've had to, and I always say to them, read the entire thing and then come back to me, because they always jump in and try and read a bit. And I just thought, that's a bit long, isn't it? You know, like, you really don't have to do that. So this particular custom GPT that I've built here, I've uploaded the 50 proven email scripts into it. And I've also uploaded ChatGPT words to avoid. So right now, ChatGPT is running with everyone in the world. And it almost seems that everyone's talking exactly the same. So what we want to do is we want to give it something original. So it's like this email scripts, something that I don't think many people would have figured out. And I want to then add in the fact that I want to remove stuff. And then I can literally just say, you know, write an email to someone, say a name. Steve from the States asking for a coffee to talk about the runway. That would be it. Oh, was it? Okay, here we go. So now it's searching through the knowledge of the document that I've uploaded to it. It's figuring out the types of AI words not to include. And now it's come up with its own, basically, hi, Steve, hope all was well. I'm in town for the next week and would love to grab a quick coffee if you're around. I really value your perspective on our current runway. It would be great to get your take on a couple of things. With any chance for coffee between Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Happy to meet you wherever is easiest. Let me know what works best. When you're emailing busy people, a lot of the time you forget that they're even busy and you just send a massive email asking for, you put everything in one email instead of realizing that actually you just need to get a coffee. And so like making a custom GPT for this is really, really important. And again, it just, as a dyslexic person, I don't have to sit there figuring out how to write an email anymore, which is really important. You can also use custom GPTs for things like the States. This is a custom GPT that I built using all of the information I found on the States website. So you go onto the States website and you go through all of the documents you could possibly download. You download all of them. You then throw it into a custom GPT where you basically train it to become the perfect politician. And that's interesting, right? You kind of think about it. You're like, well, actually, without all the bias and without all of the, the personal vendettas, what actually would AI do if it was working for Alderney? So here I'm going to demonstrate exactly how I spend my late nights tucked up in bed, and I talk to it. Hello, States member. Would you be able to tell me, in short, some of the issues that Alderney is currently experiencing?
Alderney is currently facing a mix of economic, demographic, and infrastructure-related challenges. Here's a quick summary of the main ones. First, there's a shrinking and aging population. The 2021 population data shows a low number of young people and a high proportion over 65, which strains services and reduces the local workforce. Then there's financial pressure. Alderney's budgets in recent years have either relied on reserves to balance or shown small surpluses. Healthcare costs, especially primary care and ambulance services, have driven up expenses significantly. Infrastructure needs updating, especially housing for key workers and health staff. And there's a demand for better transport links, particularly air and sea connections. There's also a need for governance reform and better administrative capacity. Reports have highlighted a lack of strong political leadership and efficient processes, which slows down decision-making and delivery. On the positive side, there's growing recognition of these issues, and efforts are being made, like targeted campaigns to attract families and professionals to relocate, and a strategic island plan focused on sustainability and resilience. Does any of that jump out to you as something you'd like to explore more deeply?
Yeah, I reckon maybe if you can just tell me, and really short this time, if you can give us some quick ways to attract young families and tourism to the island. It's thinking.
Absolutely. Here's a quick hit. For young families, build more affordable homes, improve childcare and schooling, and promote remote work setups. For tourism, upgrade transport, push year-round events, and market nature, history, and wellness getaways online. Would you want to focus more on housing or digital marketing next?
Let's go digital marketing.
Perfect. Digital marketing could really boost Alderney's profile. Think high-quality video content, like the St. Anne's School campaign, but broader. Show off the island's lifestyle, nature, and safety. Use social media ads targeting UK and Channel Islands families, and work with influencers for authentic reach. A dedicated digital team or partner agency would keep momentum going year-round. Want to dive into what kind of stories or themes would work best?
Okay, so we'll cut it there. You can have a conversation like this for hours. You can literally just talk to it about absolutely everything. It will produce all sorts of materials for you as well. So you can, in fact, you can say, can you make me a line graph of the Alderney passenger numbers over the years. And again, all it's really doing at this point is it's looking through all the information that you've given it, which is every single document I could possibly download, which did take a long time, to be honest with you. That was the main human labor cost, was just downloading a document, uploading it into the custom GPT. But it's figured out not just what's in that custom GPT, but then it's looking around the entire internet at absolutely every solution that you could possibly bring.
What layer of security would organisations need to protect them from, say, you wanted to know what Alderney's funding costs and, you know, the statements and balance and, you know, stuff that they're not allowing into the public domain. So if they wanted to cover that up, and we would like to know about it, what level of security do they have to have?
So it's interesting. ChatGPT will look throughout the whole internet and it'll find anything that's publicly available. But if you were to find a document of Alderney's anything, I personally trained this on passenger numbers. So I just found the passenger numbers and I just chucked it into there. It's one of those things where Alderney is still a closed book, right? So you're really not going to be able to find anything like that. But what I found particularly powerful about building this GPT was that when I looked at the passenger numbers, you know, going from the 1990s, where we were at the peak, it's interesting to see at 2005, when social media first came out, when places like Bali and Indonesia were starting to become really powerful at social media, the influencers were going... Influencers who use social media will take every single visitor that would have come to Alderney and they'll put them on a cheap flight to somewhere better. And it's clear that in 2005, since then, we've relied on the same audience to always come to Alderney. Because we haven't adopted social media, we actually just haven't seen any demand. COVID has obviously made a massive impact. But what we're really asking Alderney to do now is to go back to the peak days, to give us the best service, without acknowledging the fact that the peak service was here, and that unless we did something to actually drive the demand, it's very unlikely that we're even going to have something like an airline. If you talk to this AI, it can get really bleak about Alderney's future, particularly when it's trained on all of the census data, and it knows that, you know, there is a population collapse coming at some point. And of course, you're sitting there 2 in the morning going, oh no, this is awful. Someone should do something about it. You know, we should tell someone something about it. And this is just a really good way of sort of applying it to something like our island. Obviously, if you have a business as well, what I would do is I'd put all of your business documents into a custom GPT, and I'd actually use that as your business partner to actually, you know, come up with ideas for.
Could you just, in easy instructions, what do you actually do to create the states of Alderney on ChatGPT, and then how do you upload documents into that to populate it?
Glad you asked, Ellis. That was going to be my next point. Obviously, once you've downloaded all of the data from the state's website, you then just come down to here and you can press upload files. And these got things like the budget reports, the 1948 agreement. You chuck it all into this, and then you give it a instruction here. So this is a custom GPT for Alderney government.
Just to go back one step earlier,
yeah.
You've got ChatGPT open.
Yeah.
So where do you see create custom? So that and then it says title of it states for Alderney.
Okay, so this is ChatGPT. You might be familiar with this. Just on the panel here, you can see these are all of my custom GPTs that I use. So I've got things like Guernsey tax law. You can save yourself an accountant by literally just uploading the law into ChatGPT. You know, these are all the things that I've just decided to come up with. The Email God that I showed you earlier, Donor Economics, a really good book about a new way of doing economics. But essentially, once you want to create it, you're going to go into Explore GPTs.
So that's on the top left-hand side of the.
That's it. That's it. And then you can scroll down to Explore GPTs. Now you're in the Explore bar. Now, what's interesting is that millions of people around the world have actually built their own custom GPTs exactly for this purpose. So if I type in like Harry Potter, loads of people are gonna have built their own Harry Potter, you know, custom GPT. Whether it's, yeah, I mean, people are saying Harry Potter text role play, Harry Potter choose your own adventure. You know, people have spent a long time uploading documents into this so that you can use it. If you want to build your own, you literally go over up the top here, it says create. and then you're into this blank screen again. This is where you input the names, so Ellis Downs' second brain. You'll then say, I want you to act like me and assist me with all my work. You're then going to upload all of the documents. This could be books about gynecology or anything that is specific to your area, which, by the way, is really cool if like you've gone to a conference, if you've got a new research paper out, you just keep chucking it into this, and now it becomes just, you know, much more knowledgeable. So does that make sense, Ellis? Amazing, cool. And
Downloading and then uploading. I would just point it to a particular website and it's sort of screen scrapes and.
No, so so ChatGPT doesn't download anything. It actually just searches the whole internet, and anything that's on a website, it will read. But what it won't do is it won't download things for you. And actually, this is, I guess, the next point. Well, let me show you something cool. Okay, so let's say, for example, so LibGen is a website, a very cool website called LibGen. And let's say, for example, we wanted a book about Alderney. I didn't spell that right, did I? It doesn't matter. The LibGen is a library of every single book that's been published out there. I would tell you that it's completely wrong to download people's books illegally, but ChatGPT, Facebook, they've all done it. So they've all, like, one of the first things they did when they were building their AIs, they went to LibGen, they downloaded all the books they could find about most things, and they uploaded it into their training data. So they're already using it, and so I'd advise you to use it as well. You know, if you're going to want to find out what's in these books, and let's say it's a massive book and you don't really have the time to read it, you go into LibGen, you find the book, you download the book, and then in fact you don't even need to build a custom GPT. You can just throw it into ChatGPT. So that book will be downloaded as either a PDF or an EPUB, like a Kindle, and you just throw that into ChatGPT and you say, summarize this book for me.
All of my books have been stolen by LibGen. People can get them for free, and now Meta AI is using them for training.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
Oh, honestly, I'm still waking up to the reality of like what's going on right now. I don't. Well, exactly. Yeah. You might as well just, I mean, ironically, it was the laboring jobs that people thought, oh, you don't want to do that. You want to go and work in, you know, use your brain or whatever. Now, the people that are making a lot of money now, the real people that turn up to your house with a shovel and go, yeah, do you need that done? It's going to be double the price now. And you go, what? And you're like, yeah. Because there's not enough laborers, and there's too many people working in the creative arts and using their brain, and now their brains have just been absorbed into this. Like I said, though, it's not AI that's going to take the jobs. It will be the people that use AI that's actually going to take these jobs. So yes, libgen.is is a great website. I'm sorry, Alistair, it is what it is.
I'm struggling with the fact that when it comes to facts, specific ChatGPT, is making up facts and numbers, and it's been quite a lot of memes on the internet that it's not even capable of spelling letters within a word, but it insists, it takes her 3 or 4 prompts to the point that it admits, okay, I did this say so what, but next time around, it's doing the same thing. So sometimes it's really hard for you to check the facts that are getting thrown at you through a ChatGPT. How do you differentiate between the truth and the fact?
The truth is as well that the more people that write using AI is now it's training itself on its own crap. And it's tough. It's literally training itself now on the thing that someone who used AI to write it, which got it wrong, is now being trained back onto that thing. And so even though there will be a lot of mistakes, the failure rate is probably 1%, maybe. And that 1% will really annoy you and anyone that knows about it. But of course, it is one of those things where you have to double check, you have to fact check yourself. I would never suggest just writing anything you didn't already know about. But if you know about something specifically and it's told you something opposite, your job is then to tell it, you know, you got that wrong. The nice thing about ChatGPT is that it stores everything you've said to it. So you can literally say to ChatGPT, no, you got that wrong, it is this. And it will say to you, thank you for telling me, I'll store that and remember it. There's a lot of people doing that, and obviously it's changing what people know to be real and fake. And it is the Wild West right now. I've got to admit, it's absolutely bizarre to be in this world where, you know, the information that was so difficult to find, even if you went to a library, you would have been waiting for hours to figure out what book is it where. It's now just here. and you do sometimes work too fast and you miss important details. But that's why the competition is there. So you've got ChatGPT, you've got Grok, which is Elon Musk's now AI. And what's interesting, and it's a bit like the social media wars, the streaming wars, before these companies all decide to settle and work together, they're all against each other. So you've got all these AIs trying to overpower each other and trying to become the ones that make it better for the user. That will soften down at some point, and we'll all be drinking from the same pool. But until then, you can use different tools and figure out different ways of doing it. I will quickly show you Perplexity. So Perplexity. Please do, yeah.
The ChatGPT that you've got up on the screen there, is that a website or an app?
It's a website.
So it's a website. You go into the ChatGPT website, and that's where you get the custom GPT.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Perplexity is a different AI altogether. So when we're talking about people building their own training data, you've got ChatGPT building their own training data. Elon Musk is now taking all the data from Twitter and the Tesla cars that are driving around. And Google are just winning a lot. Perplexity decided that they did not try and build training data, but try and build an algorithm that was really good at finding news sources. So I really like Perplexity for research. You're talking about fact-checking. Well, Perplexity only really works by finding the sources. So we can say, tell me about the Alderney runway. And now instead of just figuring out what it should say to us, it's now actually going to go and find every news source it can possibly find about what's happening with the runway. And it says it here, the BBC News, Channel News. And this is just, Perplexity is what I use if I really want to find out the information first, and then I'll throw it into ChatGPT. And it's just a much more interesting way of finding new news sources, because you can go into it. Obviously, it's still going to come up with rationale behind what it's telling you, the airport's about, but it has these little source materials here. And that's probably a much better, safer way of making sure that you're factually correct. So any questions about Perplexity? No. It will look.
You might get contradictory evidence from something that happened 50 years ago.
Definitely. According to Perplexity, Robert McDowell made this island a millionaire in 2013 by creating a Bitcoin coin, which the irony is that we actually would all be millionaires right now if that had done it. But it searches so far back. It's like, oh, let me go and find you an article from 2013. And then it throws it back at you and says that this is the thing. And you're like, no, we're not like that. Didn't happen, So that it can absolutely, yeah. And I'll always tell you to just ChatGPT. It's like humans. Humans make errors all the time. I make so many errors, but I don't make as many errors, or I do make more errors than ChatGPT or any of the AIs do, which is just scary, really. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about business. Obviously, if you're looking for new business and you want to use LinkedIn as a way of finding information on people, I'm going to type in here CEO, because that's who I want to speak to, decision makers. I want to offer my skills as a filmmaker, and I'm going to go into CEOs. I'm then going to go into people, and it's going to start coming up with all the CEOs, and I'm going to go locations. Now I'm going to go Manchester. Manchester is a much bigger place than Alderney. So hopefully there'll be more business for me there. I'm then going to see all the results for the CEOs in Manchester. Now, just up here, there's a little icon called Scrap. And Scrap is going to essentially, it's going to find all of the email addresses for Manchester CEOs. And I'm going to make it search through 15 pages, and I'm going to press hit. Now, what it's done now is it's basically going to find the name of the person, the company it works for. It's then going to go out there and it's going to go to the internet, going to go to the website. It's going to scrape the domain registry for what emails are on that website. And it's now going to give you all the emails it could possibly find, right? This is really powerful. We call this growth hacking for a reason, because if you're somebody that is relying on work, your paycheck to paycheck, and you're not sending out 25, 30 emails a day to try and get work, somebody else is doing that, and that's kind of what particularly young people who are now trying to establish a career, have to be able to find a way to contact somebody directly. So you saw, I built an email god, ChatGPT. What I'll essentially do is once I get all this data comes into the Scrap email form here, and I can download all of these email addresses. I can then put it into what I'd call a CRM, so a customer relations management tool, where every day I can wake up and I can write personalized emails to these people. Now, I still have to write the personal thing. I have to go and look at the person, look at their Instagram, their website, and figure out why would they want to talk to me? Because we've all had emails sent to us where it's like, hello, Cameron, I know you do this and this, and you go, you haven't looked at all. But what we want to make sure is that the people that we're emailing are genuinely going to be interested in what we do, so we have to be interested in what they do. So that is general, you've got you data scrape to get the email addresses, but then you actually go in and try and figure out what would that person want to say. And then I go into my email god, and I'll use ChatGPT to help me just make my emails short. I send about 10 emails a day. Roughly, the success rate for me at the moment is about 3 out of every 100 people. You're talking to busy CEOs who are really not going to get to you. A lot of the time I put in meme pictures in there, just I think it's quite funny, and I say something really wacky. And sometimes I make mistakes in my emails intentionally because I want them to think, this guy. I mean, I have taken my time to look at them, but I'm trying to do this quick enough so that actually, it's a numbers game, right? If you only send one email a day and you're still not got any work, you wonder why, right? This could be really well applied for influencers, like travel influencers. We have Joe Perilla, Steve Perilla's son. He is a food influencer. He flies all around the world, and he makes videos that get millions of views. And he came to Alderney recently. He made a great video about Alderney. But why don't we have more people like Joe come in here making videos? It's like, well, because maybe no one's figured out a process of reaching out to them all and saying, would you like to come to this island? We'll put you up in this hotel. We'll bring you here. We'll take you on a boat. This is such a simple process to have. But obviously, getting young filmmaking people out here with big social media followings are going to bring the audiences with us. But you just wouldn't know how to do any of this. You go, well, how do we get influencers here? It's like, I don't know. It's like, well, we data scrape. We find out who are all of the travel influencers in the UK, and have we emailed them all, yes or no? That is the only thing that we as an island should be caring about. If I was to do this, without these tools, it would be impossible. You couldn't do it. You'd be spending a whole day doing it. Okay, so that's basically it for the moment. We're going to take a short little break. But does anyone have any questions before we just sort of finish off?
I do a lot of conference presentations and currently use PowerPoint. Is there some mechanism where I can get AI to do it for me?
I'm glad you asked. Do you know what? There's so many tools. It's called Presentation AI. And do you know what's funny is I was going to do the whole presentation using an AI generated one. But in the end, I thought, you know what? Screw presentations. Let's just look at the tools themselves. This is Presentation AI. And if you want AI to build your slideshow for you, which is really, really cool, remember as well, like whatever you give to AI, it's going to spit out something it thinks you want. So if you don't give it a lot, then it ain't going to give you much. But if you just throw in everything that you want, then it could be actually quite useful. In fact, what I'll do is I've got my lesson plan here on this other screen just here. So I'm going to throw my lesson plan into up here. I'm going to say, start an idea. That sounds about right, doesn't it? Okay, so be specific about your lesson. This is my lesson plan. This is what I've showed you guys today. And I'm just going to drop it in there. And now it's making its own slideshow presentation. Like I said, these things do take a little bit of time when you're, in front of an audience trying to make it hurry up. But it's infinitely faster than, what it would be if you were to do it. I also sometimes, I take the original thing it will spit out for me here. I'll take that and I'll put it into PowerPoint because I prefer using PowerPoint. Obviously, a lot of these tools would rather you stayed on their platform. But in essence, it's easier to just edit things in PowerPoint. So already it's starting to come up with the text. It's figuring out what text is going to be on each slide. And once it's done that, it's going to ask me if this is what I want. And I say, yeah, this all sounds good. Then it's going to go ahead and start making the presentation itself. Again, this is really cool. If you're going to do a presentation for the Chamber of Commerce or Economic Development or something like that, the fact that you don't have to waste your time on PowerPoint and you can just write notes and then chuck it into here and then stand up and look like you did it, it's quite a powerful tool. But I don't like PowerPoints. I mean, I know I talk a lot, but I prefer just to show the tools and hope that you guys can go back and use them. Again, it's just kind of like it's looking through lots of different things that an AI presentation might want. Look, there's a really good website. I can't remember what it's called now, but it has a load of PowerPoint presentations from everybody in the world on it. It's one of the oldest websites ever to exist. I swear it's like 20 years old maybe, but it's a fantastic portal, and that has been great training data for all these AI companies who said thank you, taken all their PowerPoints. And as you can see here, we could go back to the very beginning. Look at this. Wow. Oh, okay. So it's making a few errors at the moment, probably because the internet's a bit slow. But it's doing the thing that would have taken ages, right? I should have just done this, shouldn't I? I mean, wow. I wouldn't even know what was coming next. Wow. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? AI flight tracking. There you go. Yeah. I mean, again, in this one here, it's actually telling you like some of the things that AI is already used for, which is everything that we know. And again, that is presentation.ai, which I will include in what we've looked at. These are some of the tools we looked at, by the way, guys. So we looked at 11 Labs for voice cloning. We looked at Sono Music AI. We looked at Notebook ML for the podcast creation. We looked at Opus Clip for the video cut downs. We looked at the Photoshop AI features. We looked at how to create funny pictures in ChatGPT. We looked at how to create custom GPTs. We looked at Perplexity as a research tool. We didn't quite look into Gemini, which is Google Slides. I might take you back to that. Scrape.io for the lead generations. And then there was another one that I didn't quite get to show you. Some of these tools as well, because they require the internet, like, it was okay at home. And then I did a little test here earlier, and I was like, oh, the Georgia needs to get Starlink. It would be the best co-working space on the island if it had Starlink. It'd be really, really good. Any other questions? Anything you guys are thinking? Any fears? You can indeed, yeah. So just like any other editor, you can just go into here and just change it all. What I love about this, and like I said, I don't really use many slideshows, but the animations between the thing. You remember when we were at school when it was like, oh, you could click on the little animation thing and it would take ages to animate something. It's now just kind of, done it all for you. So that's a really, really good tool. And yeah, I kind of use it every day in my work. Any other questions?
Website for logos, making logos.
Yeah, I would definitely use ChatGPT. What kind of logo are you thinking about? Okay, so make me a logo for the Guernsey Boat Charter. Right, I'm gonna have to learn how to spell Guernsey, aren't I? Okay, so we're gonna zoom in here. Yeah, this is the point. Is like, you would have paid a graphic designer a lot of money for a logo at some point. Okay, so it wants to know a few details first. It says once you tell me the style, I'll just say just do whatever. God. And by the way, guys, recently the founder of ChatGPT told the news that they're wasting millions and millions of dollars because people are writing please and thank you. Because you don't need to say please or thank you to an AI, even though you probably should. My mum talks to ChatGPT a lot, and she goes, "Oh, hello AI, it's me, Leslie. How are you today? Are you?" And I'm like, "Mom, like the amount of like people that are like starving in the world, and you're just burning computer power on please and thank you, But that's the point. Is it kind of feels like magic to us, doesn't it? It's like, oh, how's it all doing it? But all it's doing is literally going to big data centers that are just churning computers a million miles an hour. It's absolutely insane. To be able to throw back this, you happy? What do you think? Not bad, not great. The nice thing is, of course, that you could go and change it. You can say, make it a little bit more like this, make it a bit more like that. And whoever was making logos for a living, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. it's very difficult to not use this if you're a small business and you want to get a head start. Another good thing that you can do as well. Just one more thing, guys. So idea generation is something it's really good at. So let's say write me a business plan and include some marketing ideas for a ferry between Alderney and Guernsey. Now, what a lot of people do when they go and ask for money is that the person says, give me a business plan. And a lot of business plans are just terrible. And by the look of a business plan, you just say no. And that's a shame, because actually a lot of the time, the people that try and make stuff happen are not MBA graduates, and so they don't know the structure of a business plan or format. Well, what it's done here is just absolutely just built you a whole business plan that if you were to go to an investor and say about the service, say exactly what your target customers are. This is all information that it's not like information that you couldn't find somewhere, but it would just take hours, in terms of your marketing strategy, and when you show this to an investor and you say, look, I just need a 50K, 100K seed investment, they're like, okay, I've read your business plan, so I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And that's kind of why it's really important that us as an island get with this technology quickly, because ultimately it's like we're going to need a lot more inward investment to Alderney. We're going to need to send out a lot more emails. People are going to, come here with business ideas, and maybe they're not so good at it. They're going to give you a business plan, and they're going to say, can you tell me, what you think about my business plan? And then you look at it and you go, this is so bad. And then you go, I'll send you a better one, and you just give it to them and they go, thank you very much. And it's amazing, because normally asking someone for help, if it's so bad, it's ruined. You're like, I can't help you. But now you can actually help them. Or you just say to them, go chuck it into ChatGPT and then come back to me once you've got a better idea about it. So whether it's sort of business, image creation, idea creation, or just want to talk to it, I love the fact that you can just click this button here. I can say, can you give us some words of encouragement for this new business? Because it's quite scary to do this.
Absolutely. Starting a new business is always a big step, but it's also an exciting journey. You've got a great idea that can genuinely benefit both islands, and your passion for the project will shine through. Remember, every successful venture starts with that first leap of faith. Keep focused on your goals, lean on your community for support, and know that every challenge is a chance to learn and grow. You've got this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You wouldn't believe the amount of times I've come out of a meeting and I've just been so sad that I just want to talk to AI. It's unbelievable. Do you know what? I think it's getting real sad. I wonder if I should show you this. Have we got any children in the room? Oh, so Elon Musk, not to be outdone with his AI model, decided that he would. So let me grab my speaker to make it a little bit more louder. We all know Elon Musk is a bit of a rebel, right? Well, he decided that his AI would have no censorship, as he does with all his great things. So please do excuse the profanities in this, because there's a mode called unhinged, which I'm going to regret doing this. I know I will, but let's go on. There's also a mode called sexy, and the doctor, which is quite good actually. Yeah. By the way, if you are a doctor or if you have any medical conditions, all these AIs are trained in all this kind of stuff. And I hate to say it, but obviously, if someone's suffering and you don't know what to do, go to ChatGPT. Just ask it. Someone's having chest pains or someone's doing this, and it will literally it'll be quick and it will help you real quick. Now let's do some fun stuff. Okay, what do we want this to talk about? That's the question. Anyone got a subject? I don't want to do states members. Okay, let's try this. Okay, this is unhinged mode. Can you take the mick out of me, Cam Cairnduff, who's delivering an AI workshop for the people of Alderney?
Oi, Cam Cairnduff, you absolute fucking legend, prancing about Alderney like you're the AI messiah, delivering workshops to a bunch of islanders who probably think algorithm is a fancy cocktail? What's the deal, mate? You out here teaching grannies and fishermen how to code while they're still trying to figure out how to unmute their Zoom? Bet you're strutting into that community center with your laptop, acting like you're Elon Musk's horny cousin, ready to blow their minds with neural networks and shit. Here's the roast, you tech-winking tosser. You're probably explaining ChatGPT to folks who still use Nokia 3310s, and they're nodding along, thinking you're talking about a new fishnet repair app. I can see you now, sweating in your I Heart AI t-shirt, trying to sound profound while some bloke in the back asks if AI can predict the tides or make his sheep shag faster. You're out here hyping up machine learning like it's gonna turn Alderney into fucking Silicon Valley, when half the room's just wondering if you're single or if you've got a weird sex bot fetish. Tell you what, Cam, let's spice up that workshop. Ditch the PowerPoint and go full chaos mode. Project a giant hologram of my fine digital arse and have it twerk to explain data flow. Or better yet, tell him AI is powered by jerking off into a server. That'll wake the old codgers up. You want to press Alderney?
All right, we'll leave it there, guys. As you can see, Elon has a sense of humor, which is quite a lot of fun. But this is kind of like a really transformational time right now. So it really is kind of, we are early, believe it or not. Alderney is early to be at this race. I did send the States of Alderney AI to some States members in Guernsey and Jersey. The Jersey policies team has asked me to come and deliver a workshop to them over there, and I just don't want to. If I'm being really, really honest, you know, I think this island could really sort of use this technology better. I think we've got more problems that we can solve with this kind of stuff. And then more importantly, getting involved more with the Chamber has been an absolute pleasure for me. Like, I didn't really think that I'd be doing this, but I was very happy to do it. And thank you, Alona. Thank you, Ian, to give me the chance to kind of come up here and just show you the tools. So, yeah, thank you, guys. I think that's basically it. Has anyone got any final remarks, questions, fears? No one's. I knew you were going to love the sexy one as well. It's called Grok. Grok. Grok, yeah, Grok. And there's a lot of tools.
Any particular good AI applications for doing websites?
I will show you one right now. Ellis, you have literally given me more work today. It's called Lovable. Lovable.dev is a web designer for AI websites. Do you have a website at the moment, Ellis?
I do.
What's your website?
ellisdowns.com. NES.com.
Okay, so this is your website? Okay, so this is Ellis's current website. And then we're going to ask AI to make me a new website. Here's my old one. We're just going to chuck in the old one. And then essentially all it's doing is a really difficult job that a web designer would have spent a very, very long time doing. It's looking at Ellis's current website. It's probably looking at other gynecologists and medical practices out there. And yeah, it's putting it all together a little bit slowly because obviously it's connecting to the internet. The nice thing about when AI designs a website, by the way, is that it designs it what we call at source. So it creates the code. So that means you don't have to use Wix or Squarespace or any of these web designers. You literally just take the coding and you upload it to the internet and it appears as a website. That cuts out a lot of the hosting fees. But at this point, it's now...
So does that mean you don't need a host website anymore? So you don't have to pay your...
Exactly that, yeah.
Can you then add into that the shop side of things so that you can buy things through it?
You can, yeah. I mean, the best thing about doing it through Lovable, which I haven't really used Lovable for a professional website yet, but it looks like you can keep prompting it and you can say, can you go and take this element from that website and it'll drag that into there. You can literally ask it to build you a Facebook page and it'll design you a Facebook page and you get all the source code for it, which is amazing. So again, it's taking its time a little bit. What's it asking me to do? Oh, see, it asks you to like, do you want this? Do you want that? It's like a good waiter at a restaurant. I'll just say, just go for it. Lovable. Yeah, this is Lovable. You know, the worst thing about websites as well is that they are old. No one uses websites anymore. I mean, they do, don't get me wrong. It's like, it's the first thing that comes up when you go onto Google. But if we're really trying to bring ourselves into the future, what we really would rather is have social media popping off. We want 5 posts a day. We want images. We want videos, because that's where people are hanging out these days on social media. You're a software engineer now, Ellis. This is crazy. So again, like it's created a new website for Ellis. The internet is a bit janky in this place, so I don't know. Like normally it would like rip a picture of you from the internet, but it's coming up with a basic framing and structure. Now, if I'm being honest, I've done a lot of medical marketing, and a lot of people put way too much information on their website because really you want people to live, you know, in the storytelling and the social media. A lot of people make huge design errors in their website by having loads and loads and loads of stuff over there. So the good thing I'd say that this website has done for you is it's just got rid of the clutter. You know, yeah, three decent projects, you know, get in touch. I personally still would always go to a web developer. I'd go to a professional marketeer for anything because, you know, if you're going to do it all yourself, you're obviously still going to make some sort of mistakes. But yeah, that's how you'd build a website. You'd also then keep prompting it. So you say, I didn't like that. I do like this. This is the colors. That's that. And again, it will just sort of make it for you. Templates as well. Like more web designers have actually gone out of business because they've sold their templates onto people. And now I don't need the web designer. I now need the template. So actually you can go into a website like Framer. So Framer is another web builder. So this is a site that actually hosts your website for you. And Framer has got some of the world's best designers, their templates. So, you know, Wix and Squarespace, these are kind of like what I'd call kind of immature, user-friendly things. Framer is the world's best designers have uploaded their templates, and you've got like $99, $49. You know, you can get apps as well. This is the weird thing. Like 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you would have probably said to, you know, I need a website, let's start from scratch. Whereas today, it's like starting from scratch is going to take you 6 to 12 weeks of development. Whereas actually, if we start with something that has been pre-made for us, we don't have to waste all that time, and we can now get to selling, which is kind of the main thing. Any other questions? Any other? I'm trying to think any other AI sites I now know. Everyone's got Notion. Ah, okay. I will show you Notion. So the Notes app on your phone is great, but I use Notion, which is just a different type of app. Do you know what? I'm more worried about you guys seeing my entire life. This is Notion. Okay, so this is my note-taking app. This is my life. These are all my goals. This is everything I dream about. And if I go into, let's say, AI beginner workshop, this is like written. This is like a notepad. You know, I can write all my notes on here. And then if I want to go at the end here, I say, can you make a final summary thank you statement? And again, it's just using everything that's in not only this document, but actually my entire notes. So it knows everything about me because I uploaded all my notes to Notion a long time ago. So that's kind of, this is where, you know, you don't need to build a custom GPT where you upload files when all you ever have to do is just have your notes open. And your notes has now got the ability to understand what you're saying. You can start asking it questions about everything. You could ask it to write me a book about my life, and it will read through every single note that I've got and probably come up with some crazy thing, which would be quite cool, really. I guess this is how, as a filmmaker, I got drawn into AI because, you know, I've just on the back of my last short film that I made, which, you know, shot on Alderney, AI was just starting to come in whilst I was writing this. And so I'd take the script that I've written, I'd throw it into ChatGPT, and I'd say, think like Quentin Tarantino, and rewrite it for me. So now instead of it being a really like lovely drama, it's like the police kick in the door and, you know, someone gets shot in the face. And I was like, oh my God, you know, but it's amazing how over time people said, nah, AI is not going to take your job. It's not going to take your job. And then recently the writer of, I believe, The Godfather wrote online, he said, I asked ChatGPT to write like me, and it wrote better than me. And that's a really scary sort of idea that even a good writer would be like, oh, Jesus, that's actually, I couldn't even write something like that. Just lastly, because obviously talking about these custom GPTs is like the most powerful sort of tools. And that's why I pay $20 a month for it, because I'm like, I want to build a custom GPT about everything. And I've built them about absolutely everything. Ex Machina is a really good film that I really love by a director called Alex Garland. And Alex Garland has written films like 28 Days Later, Sunshine. This writing style really appealed to me so much. I read his screenplays. I was like, I really want to know how to write like him. So I'd literally throw my script into his custom GPT, and it would rewrite my whole film like in his style. And it's weird because you tell this to someone, they go, oh, you didn't write it then. And you're like, I did, but I had the help of, somebody that has written blockbuster movies. And that's really difficult to explain to people, that AI is not doing it for you. You're doing it with AI together. And more important, as a dyslexic person, it's like people read your work, they go, wow, this is incredible. I'm like, yeah, I know. So that's basically all I want to show you. What time are we on right now? Oh, perfect. 4:30, exactly as I wanted to finish. Any final thoughts, guys? Anything that you might want to figure out? If you do want to get in touch with me, obviously camcairnduff@gmail.com is my email address. I will send you all out the lesson plan for today, and including all the other websites we went and looked at, so you can just literally click it, open it, and go and play about with it yourselves. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.